Day 3 of my Lilac Tincture experiment. Now, if you've been following so far that whole process of changing the flowers and starting over, I'm just going to do it twice. So I'm stopping today. I'm going to do the filtration and I will stop it there. Normally in the process of creating a tincture, you would let everything steep for at least 7 to 14 days from this point on. I'm not going to do that, and the reason why is because normally in the process of creating a tincture, we would use material that is not so delicate, not flowers. We would use maybe, it's most effective with heavier material like, let's say, vanilla beans, different types of resins or seeds. But in this case, the flowers are quite delicate, and I have a feeling that if I leave it longer, it's just going to start souring and it's not going to go in the direction that is interesting for perfumery. And obviously I was just doing this for experimental purposes so we can kind of all learn from it. But let me filter it now. So I'm back with my filtration setup, and let's just dump it all in. So while we're waiting, I'm just going to comment on this scent. So it is a bit floral when I smell it, actually much more than yesterday. So we are still getting a little bit of the scent of lilac, but it's mostly much more vegetal at this point. It kind of has an aquatic scent as well, kind of like the smell of being by the side of the water. There's something really dewy about it and almost seaweed-like. And it's not an unpleasant smell, it's actually quite nice to smell, but it definitely doesn't smell like a fresh lilac anymore. So we're done. Look how pretty that color is. Smell it. Okay, so it's much more floral than yesterday. It smells almost, that's actually quite beautiful. I'm actually surprised. It smells like a floral tea, almost like jasmine tea, but in the direction of lilac. So a lilac tea, which is amazing. That's quite nice. And the more it evolves, the more we fall into the floral side. I'm starting to recognize a little bit of the lilac. Obviously, it's not like the flower, but it's actually quite beautiful. As alone, I wouldn't say it's a perfume, but I could totally see how I can use this to create like a greener, by adding florals into it and to, give a fragrance a little bit more, a greener depth and a beautiful tea floral facet. Okay, so this is pretty conclusive. I might try something out with this. So I'm going to go ahead and store it in an amber bottle and let it sit for about 14 days and smell it later to see if it has evolved. And I don't want to put it back in the other pot. I don't feel it's airtight. I'm not trusting it. And the last step is to label the bottle. I can't stress how important it is to label everything. The girls who know. And yes, I use an old school typewriter. And the reason why I use an old typewriter is because of the type of ink. So when you're labeling these kind of bottles, it's really, really important to have, usually you would write it with a pencil, not with a pen, because if oil or ethanol falls onto the label, it can run and then you lose all the information. But what I realized with this old typewriter and this type of ink, when that happens, it doesn't run. So I can have all my labels printed clearly and without the fear of any of it running and disappearing. So that's why I use this old thing, and I'm old school that way. Alright, so that's it, folks, and this is really beautiful. It's evolving to a point where I'm recognizing the lilac a little bit more. So it's hidden in there with other notes, but yeah, really, really beautiful. So stay tuned.